So if this 2-year ban is signed into law, what could it mean for the state? Joining us now to talk more about that, our political analyst, New York Post state editor, Fred Dicker. And Fred, before we get to that, I've heard you say many times on this program that any decision made in Albany is not without politics, not without a political, some kind of political reasoning behind it.
Sure.
And so we have this happening today. What would that be?
Well, what would it be is the overwhelmingly Democratic, New York City-oriented Democrats who passed this, who are under enormous pressure from environmental activists. They receive millions of dollars one way or another in contributions and support for these groups. They've been taking this position for a long time. This wasn't new. And for Speaker Silver to be demonizing these private sector gas and oil companies the way he does, sneering about profits, when you just look across the border in Pennsylvania, 72,000 new jobs for people there. Our people in the southern tier, who happen to be overwhelmingly Republican, desperate for jobs and getting nothing because of yet another attempt to delay the decision. So that's what the politics are behind it. It's New York City against the southern tier.
All right, let's get to the other point. First of all, is this a fait accompli now?
No, just the opposite, Liz. This isn't going anywhere. This is a strong statement by these Assembly Democrats. The chances of the Senate passing it are very, very slight. Let me make what I think is an important observation. This is a direct attack on Governor Cuomo. This is a direct insult to the State Health Department and the State Environmental Conservation Department, because it is not a legislative function to make an executive decision. This is a decision about what professionals, health experts, engineers, scientists think is safe or isn't safe. That's what the governor said he's been waiting for. That report's about to be completed. All of a sudden, the speaker, who gives billions of dollars to these agencies, the Health Department and the Environmental Conservation Department, has decided they can't be trusted. He and his colleagues are more experts on the science than the state agencies. What's the point of having a health department and an environmental conservation department if Speaker Silver is actually the chief science expert?
Well, I know, but how much more, or does it at all, back the governor into a corner?
Doesn't back him at all. If the Senate passed something like this, which we don't expect, but if they did, he could veto it. By the way, the other side of looking at this, or another way of looking at it that people are wondering about, is could the governor be behind this effort to try to give himself cover not to go ahead with fracking because he's been putting off a decision for so long? He and his people deny that's the case, but that is the suspicion of at least some people out there who have been waiting for so long. This is going on in 29 states, hundreds of thousands of jobs. This is being studied in every state where it's occurring, and no problems are being found.
Well, that's a little Machiavellian if, in fact, that's what's going on here.
Well, we don't know for sure what's going on here, but it really is very painful for people who live down there, and it's really troubling for a state that claims it wants to be seen as one that now is open for business, when for so long it's had the reputation of being the most hostile to business in the United States, as Speaker Silver made it sound today in his comments.
All right. Well, we'll certainly be following it with you by our side. Thank you, Fred. And Fred, I'm sure we'll be talking about it on the radio as well, live from the state capitol. It's weekday mornings, 10 to 11 on Talk 1300 AM.